Okay, this is it, December the 2nd, year 2007. This is the second day of snow on Saltspring Island. Yesterday it was really snowing heavy, and the wind was something like I've never seen before. Last year we had a horrendous November. Back in 2006 we had snow as early as the 21st. This year, at least, we only had, say, one evening of snow, which messed up the next morning, and that was practically at the tail end of November. So it really wasn't so bad for Saltspring Island this year. The other day there was a weather forecast that the Saltspring Island, Vancouver, Victoria region would get the coldest winter in 15 years. This is all you can see of Ganges Harbor. Today the flakes are bigger and a little bit wetter, but still a lot of snow. Yesterday they were pretty fine flakes and a lot of wind. I've never seen such a combination of wind and snow before, where the wind would pick up like gusts and just blow the snow right off the roofs of some of the houses, only to come back down again. In 2007 we had a crappy summer. I'd say it was a lackluster summer on Saltspring Island. We did not get the record good weather that we normally get here on the island. Compared to last year, it was paled by comparison. Fall, though, I must say, was not bad. I mean, a year ago, the previous November, it was raining and cold and miserable, and then we went from that into a major snow hit on, like, I think the 21st or 22nd of November. This year we got a little bit of snow at the tail of November, but we really didn't get our snow until December 1st. This has been the first real snowstorm for the region. It started yesterday, and I thought if this snow was still here today I'd come out and film it. So it's December 2nd and the snow is still here, and it's not letting up. They expect that a Pineapple Express will come roaring in here later this evening or tomorrow morning, and there's always a danger of flooding when that happens. Last year I just filmed a normal standard video. I could have filmed it in high definition, but I wanted to stick with the 4:3 ratio. This year I thought, for history purposes of the island and that I'd film it in high definition, so you're watching it in 16:9. Some of our local residents on the island live out and the harbors around the island. All year round. We're gonna go for a little walk into town. I doubt very many businesses are open today. They probably gave up. Yesterday when I was in little village of Ganges, there was debate in one of the stores whether they'd stay open until it got dark, or just before it got dark, since not many people would be planning coming back to town or into town after it got dark. Somehow I don't think these vehicles are parked here for nothing. Well, this is a first view of the lower part of the village. Yesterday was Saturday, and I was surprised to find that the credit union was going to close already by 2 p.m. They were going to call it quits. Almost didn't make it in there. But the liquor store is another thing. I didn't know this, but they're required by law to stay open until 6 o'clock, the BC liquor stores, regardless of the weather, unless there's a national emergency or a storm emergency that goes out by the province. They are required by law to keep the liquor store open until 6 p.m. They can't close when it gets dark. And a person there told me that it is not uncommon in some liquor stores in the province that if they get hit with bad weather, they end up having to spend the night at the liquor store because they can't get home. Well, it looks like this controversial building's still here. It floated in a couple of years ago on a stormy winter's night. An interesting play of fractal lines on the water. This is a great old heritage building. There's been a lot of restoration work done on this building over the summer. Here you're kind of looking at the hub of the village. The fishery is a great place to get some real salmon caught right out of the ocean, right here in Ganges. Here's our famous crosswalk that could have been located on the other side of the intersection. Probably should have been located here, more like it. Instead, in the wisdom of the powers that be, they put it on this side of the intersection. Which makes it a little bit difficult for people to make their left-hand turns going up this road, Rainbow Road. Every now and then you see an islander kind of walking around aimlessly, and I'm starting to think that these people are walking around aimlessly because they can't get in their cars. This guy looks like he's going to make it home tonight. Here's another one. It's not uncommon for islanders to come into town, village more like it, and park their cars and leave them unlocked. Some of the cars you wouldn't want to steal anyways. But that's just island life. Normally you'd be surprised at what you can leave in the village and someone will return it to you. Now this is a fantastic painted map of the village of Ganges looking down at it. And then this is the rest of the painting that goes with it. Right here is where we're standing right now. This is looking down on the whole island. This is the island that most of us know. Salt Spring Inn is an incredible place to get out of the cold, out of the rain, if there is any rain on Salt Spring, or snow in the wintertime. As you can see, this is one of the major parking areas in the village, and there's not much going on here. More aimless islanders walking around, trying to find their cars. There are two things that'll keep islanders off the streets: the infrequent bad weather and some new meeting that half the islanders are at in some heated debate, jumping over tables, and in some form of controversy. They say the island is a controversy surrounded by water. If you're going to visit Salt Spring Island, remember this building. When you drive into the center of the village, you'll see it on your right. It's the info center, and you'll get all kinds of information. It'll look a hell of a lot better when the sun's shining on this building and the flowers are in full bloom. This is another view of the said large parking lot, and as you can see, there's not much going on. Well, this gas station's open. We've got 3 in the village area. If they had built this village today, there's no way they would have permitted 3 gas stations to be located in such a dense area. Anyways, if you're going to get your gas here, it's fully serviced, but you're paying a premium price, so the best thing is to get a full tank of gas before you come onto Salt Spring Island. Otherwise, you're paying 10-20 cents more than the off-island rate. This is a great little main drag in the village. It's one of them anyways. This is our old fire hall here in the center of the village. We need a new one, need to build a new one somewhere nearby. They did a survey on this, and if we had a significant earthquake, this building would go down like a stack of cards. Well, I guess it's too cold to make a dope deal in the park today. Centennial Park in the village of Ganges has had its issues. Well, this is the only route south out of the village to take you to the south end, to the even tinier little village of Fulford, which has a ferry that'll take you to Victoria. I don't know if he's doing that on purpose.
We're watching a van try and make it up the hill out of town, and he is not successful in any sort.
Isn't that dangerous? Four-wheel drive?
Yeah, well, it'll be nice when they get back.
I think the guy in the van is having fun. No drug deals here. Not today. Too cold. I've never tried riding my bike up this kind of weather. On this island you can find amazing artwork everywhere. Not just in the galleries, but also as murals in and around the village. I guess this guy's not going anywhere. The snow wasn't quite as deep yesterday, but it was really gusting. and it was a little bit colder. Flakes were smaller, and I think it would have been much harder to have filmed yesterday. I would have had to have thick gloves on and everything. The wind chill factor just would have been unbearable. If you have to catch a float plane to Vancouver Airport or the downtown of Vancouver, this area will lead you to the float planes right behind the Coast Guard building. This is looking back the way I walked. That's the waiting area for the float planes. You can wait inside this little building. It's a replica of the bridge of one of the old ferries that used to come directly into the village, I think from Vancouver. Either Vancouver or would come from Victoria. Not only are there no float planes flying today, they're not even tied up here. So they're probably located back in Vancouver or Richmond near the airport. I think with the way the weather is today, they won't be flying for another day or so. Usually when it snows on Salt Spring, if it does, it's not much different than Vancouver. In other words, you'll get one blast of snow and then 2-3 days follow of just mush and mess as it all melts away. That's why they call it the wet coast. And the snow here is not really snow. It's just a wet mess once it starts to melt. It's not like the interior where you can get a big blast of snow, keep it for a number of days, have some blue sky, below zero weather, and then eventually you either get hit with more snow or it'll just melt away. You're lucky here if you can get snow to stay more than 2 days in a row. That is real snow. When that happens, because we're not used to it, we're pretty much locked in. Some of the students that go to school here on Salt Spring Island actually come from some of the other smaller islands. So we have these water taxis that cross the waters to commute students back and forth to and from the other islands. This is our Swiss restaurant in the village of Ganges. Well, it's getting dark. I think I'm going to call it a day. I don't expect it's going to be this white tomorrow. If anything, it's going to be a big slushy mess.